What did I just watch? Look at Donald Trump here throughout this interview on Newsmax with Greg Kelly this evening. He looked like he was going to fall asleep the entire time. Sleepy Donald with his eyes closed as he spent most of the interview whining about the 2020 election and saying the 2020 election was rigged. Here, play this clip.
Before, and most people knew it before too. But you mentioned something today, Ashli Babbitt. I'm going to look into that because what happened to Ashli Babbitt is so sad. That whole story, that whole period of time, and what they did was so bad. There were so many forces at work that people are starting to find out about it. It was an evil period of time.
And then a very lethargic, a very fatigued and sleepy Donald Trump said that he was saved by God to save the country. A demented man. Play this clip.
I think, somebody said that God saved me in order to save this country. This country was going down, Greg. If this election wasn't won, this country had no chance. This country is going to be, remember I used to say for years, we're going to be Venezuela on steroids. And that's what was happening to the country. And now we're turning it around. And I think we're turning it around fast.
I said before, demented man, a demented thing. Here, Donald Trump talks about tariffs, and he says the deals that were made by my predecessors on these trade deals were so bad. Donald, the big trade deal with Canada and Mexico, the USMCA, it's your deal. It was your deal. Play this clip.
But we've been ripped off as a country like no country has ever been ripped off before. I read some of these deals that are made by my predecessors, and it's almost like saying, how could anybody allow this to happen? Like, as an example, who would allow men to play in women's sports?
Then Donald Trump and this host, Greg Kelly, walk around the Oval Office. And then Greg Kelly looks at portraits of George Washington, Andrew Jackson, and Ronald Reagan. And Greg Kelly's like, just look at all of these people. They're like you. They're like you. And then Donald's like, yeah, that's why I like you to interview. As he falls. Just watch this, play this clip.
Guys, that they all look like, old-timey guys. This will start people talking and the inevitable comparison to you. And I think you win that comparison.
I've heard you say that. That's why I do interviews with this guy. When you say that.
But you know what I mean? They'll talk.
I mean, we're watching the outtakes from Idiocracy. Not even Idiocracy, the outtakes from Idiocracy. Donald Trump then talks about why his national security advisor, defense secretary, and others were discussing war plans on a group text message thread and invited a reporter, Jeffrey Goldberg, onto the thread. What he says makes no sense. Play this clip.
What it was, we believe, is somebody that was on the line with permission, somebody that was with Mike Waltz, worked for Mike Waltz at a lower level, had, I guess, Goldberg's number or called through the app. And somehow this guy ended up on the call. Now, it wasn't classified, as I understand it. There was no classified information. There was no problem. And the attack was a tremendous success. So I can only go by what I've been told. I wasn't involved in it, but I was told and the other people weren't involved at all. But I feel very comfortable, actually.
You were on the...
Then Donald Trump, he's amazed by the word groceries. He goes, groceries. Groceries. Have you heard of this word? All the groceries are going down. No, they're not. What world are you living in? The prices are not going down. You are tanking the economy, though. Play this clip.
They talked about the price of groceries and how expensive it was. And I campaigned on it, in all fairness. I haven't used the word grocery. It's like an old-fashioned word, but really it's not. And people understand it. And I campaigned very hard on groceries. And they're coming down very much. If you look at your gasoline prices, it's really coming down tremendously. And that's bringing other prices down with it. So, I mean, I have really great people, but it took a period of time.
Then Donald Trump tries to attack Social Security by lying that illegal immigrants get Social Security when they don't? Play this clip.
It's like I have nothing to even think about with Social Security. Now, if you have an illegal immigrant on Social Security, I think everybody wants to make sure that doesn't happen. So it doesn't I have to make sure there's as little fraud as possible. But no, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, people don't have to worry. But they make up stories. They're liars. They lie so badly and they lie so much.
Then Donald Trump seems that like he praises Russia here for not doing a deal with Ukraine. And he's like, it's like me. Like when I used to do contracts and I didn't want to sign a contract, that's like Putin, a good negotiator. Here, play this clip.
We're hearing that maybe Russia is dragging its feet at this point, and Zelensky has shown some openness, especially after what happened in the Oval Office a few weeks ago. Is that accurate at this point?
I don't know. I mean, I'll let you know at a certain point, but I think that Russia wants to see an end to it, but it could be they're dragging their feet. I've done it over the years. I don't want to sign a contract. I want to sort of stay in the game, but maybe I don't want to do it quite. I'm not sure. But no, I think Russia would like to see it end, and I think Zelensky would like to see it end at this point. We had a case last week where Ukrainian soldiers were surrounded by Russian soldiers, and this was not good. And I think I had a big impact on not having all of them killed, but they were killed. It's a bloody war. They lose 2,500 people on average a week. Think of that, 2,500. They're not Americans, but it doesn't matter to me from that standpoint.
Notice he can never say anything negative about Putin. He'll attack Ukraine, which has agreed to an unconditional ceasefire when Russia has refused to unconditional ceasefire. And then Donald Trump attacks Ukraine. Here, Donald Trump then talks about starting a compensation fund for the January 6th insurrectionists. Play it.
No, but I took care of them. I said I was going to, and I did.
Is there any talk of, because they lost opportunity, they lost income, any kind of compensation fund?
Well, there's talk about that. We have a lot of people talk about it. A lot of the people that are in government now talk about it because a lot of the people in government really like that group of people. They were patriots as far as I was concerned. I talk about them a lot. They were treated very unfairly. The thing they show is they show a group of 1,000, whatever it may have been, 1,500 people down. What they don't show, you never see the crowd that day. It was the biggest crowd I've ever spoken before. It went all the way to the Washington Monument. It was so wide. You virtually couldn't see anything else but people. They never show that. Whether it was 1 million people or less than 1 million, I don't know what it was, but I see Bernie Sanders has a few people out there. They say, oh, the crowd is so big. They don't talk about the crowds. But a group of people went down there peacefully and patriotically. Remember that.
I often get asked, what's the secret to how MeidasTouch has grown so fast? I said, it's easy. It's the community, the Meidas mighty number one. Then we have to make good content. Number 3, we got to have the business behind the business, the nuts and bolts that make it all work. And we use Shopify here at the MeidasTouch Network. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. It's home of the number 1 checkout on the planet. And the not so secret with Shop Pay, it boosts your conversions by up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going down. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform, make it better today and sign up with Shopify. Join Shopify. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. So here's what you got to do. Upgrade your business the way we did. And I want you to head to shopify.com/Meidas. That's shopify.com/Meidas. Upgrade your selling today. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period right here. If you go to shopify.com/Meidas, all lowercase, that's shopify.com/Meidas, and get that $1 per month trial period right now. Thanks, Shopify. Donald Trump then blames George Soros for attacks on Tesla. Let's play it.
Tesla violence. Have you heard anything about billionaires on the left, whether it's Soros or somebody else? Have you heard anything about planning, coordination, funding for these attacks?
I believe that that is part of it. Yeah, there are some of them that were involved with my trials that were, I think, probably involved with that also. And, Elon's done a very good job. He's found tremendous waste, fraud, and abuse, like levels you've never seen. People that don't show up to work and they get checks. I mean, so many different things that you can't even go over. It is so much. Done a great job. And he's basically a patriot,
Then Greg Kelly tries to get Donald Trump to say that there was going to be a lot of exceptions to the April 2nd tariffs. And Donald Trump's like, no, not too many exceptions. Play this clip.
A couple of things more, if you don't mind. You're such a positive person, and I love it. You even acknowledge that there will be disturbances with the tariffs. There will be disturbances. Question is, how bad could those disturbances be, and how far are you willing to go when it comes to April 2nd? I know there are some exceptions, and it's an ongoing discussion, but...
Not too many. Not too many exceptions. No, I don't want to have too many exceptions. Yeah. Look, we've been ripped off for 45 years by other countries, 50 years more. We always were soft and weak. It's almost like we had people that didn't know what they were doing. We were just ripped as a country like nobody has ever seen before. That's why we...
And do you hear there as well? He's like, yeah, there's going to be disturbances. Why are they disturbing our... I don't want disturbances. I want to go about my day with my family, right? I just want to wake up, maybe read a book, have some breakfast, my wife and my daughter, go for a walk. That's what I want to do, not have to deal with disturbances, have economic hardship inflicted upon me. What are you doing? Then Donald Trump lies and says, Biden paid $350 billion to Ukraine. Europe paid $100 billion. So we're $250 billion. It's all lies. Europe has paid more to Ukraine than the United States. And the United States payments to Ukraine came in the form of old weapons that the United States was not even using. And Europe gave more. It just, everything he says is a lie. There's nothing true about this. Play this clip.
And I just want to see it stop. I also don't want to pay. The Biden paid $350 billion. Europe paid $100 billion. And I said, why didn't they equalize? Why were we so far ahead of Europe? Then I found out that Europe, as you know, took loans. In other words, they gave it in the form of loans. We didn't. But I was able to make a deal for rare earth, which will be good. At least we don't feel so stupid. But we had $350 billion, and so we're $250 billion more than Europe. Isn't it ridiculous? And
then Donald Trump praises Ashli Babbitt, who was the lady who got shot and killed on January 6th. She was leading a group of people trying to break into the area where senators and Congress members were to attack them. And the mob wanted to kill them. And Ashli Babbitt was going through the glass that had been broken to attack police officers. And then Trump, of course, attacks the police officer and praises Ashli Babbitt. Play this clip.
The family of Ashli Babbitt is suing the government, wrongful death. The DOJ right now officially is still opposing that lawsuit, trying to justify it. Shouldn't that be something that can just be settled at this point?
Well, I'll look into that. I mean, you're just telling me that for the first time. I haven't heard that. I'm a big fan of Ashli Babbitt, okay? And Ashli Babbitt was a really good person who was a big MAGA fan, Trump fan, and she was innocently standing there. They even say trying to sort of hold back the crowd. And a man did something to her that was unthinkable when he shot her. And I think it's a disgrace. I'm going to look into that. I did not know that. No.
And the officer who shot her, Michael Byrd, is still on duty. They gave him a raise and they gave him a medal and I believe a promotion.
I think it's a disgrace.
He's a federal employee. Would you or could you do something like that?
I'm going to take a look at it. I'm going to look at that too.
By the way, here's Donald Trump celebrating the USMCA, his trade deal with Canada and Mexico that he now says is the worst deal. I just want to bring out the receipts. This is during the first Trump administration. The trade deal with Canada and Mexico is literally his deal. Play this clip.
It's my great honor to announce that we have successfully completed negotiations on a brand new deal to terminate and replace NAFTA and the NAFTA trade agreements with an incredible new U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement called USMCA. It sort of just works. MCA. USMCA. And that'll be the name, I guess, that 99% of the time we'll be hearing. USMCA. Has a good ring to it.
Yeah, Donald. So the person who made a stupid deal, stupid, that was you, Donald. That was you who did it. I had the opportunity to interview former ambassador to the United Nations and former national security advisor, Susan Rice. And I asked her about the cell phone text message threads by these Trump officials where they were talking about their war plans. Steve Witkoff, Trump's envoy to Russia, was in Moscow while all of this was taking place, and he was on the thread. So I asked Ambassador Rice, so do the Russians have all our info now? And she's like, yep. If he's on that thread, he's using Signal, they have it. Here, play this clip. Donald Trump's special envoy to Russia, Steve Witkoff, was allegedly in Moscow while he was on this group chat. The CIA director, John Ratcliffe, testified today that he wasn't even aware today that Witkoff was in Moscow when I knew about it because it was a matter of public attention. How dangerous is that? Do you believe the Russians now have all of that information and potentially more? What can you give us based on what you know about these things?
Well, yes, the Russians have whatever Witkoff was doing or saying on his personal cell phone. The way Witkoff should have handled this and the way this meeting should have been conducted is Witkoff should have gone into the U.S. Embassy in Moscow and gone into their secure compartment facility and conducted his participation by video conference. That's how this whole thing should have happened. There should never have been a Signal chat used as the vehicle for a discussion that involved anything sensitive regarding national security. The Russians undoubtedly have it.
Well, there you have it, folks. Let me know what you think. That was Donald Trump, sleepy Donald Trump's appearance on Newsmax. Really weird stuff, dangerous stuff. Tell me what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 5 million subscribers.
Can't get enough Meidas? Check out the Meidas Plus Substack for ad-free articles, reports, podcasts, daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, and more. Sign up for free now at MeidasPlus.com.